such thing as a pitching prospect? Let's discuss on Fantasy Baseball Today in 5. Welcome into FBT in 5. Today is Saturday, December 10th. I am Frank Sanfield, joined by The Welsh. Make sure you follow him on Twitter at IsItTheWelsh. And of course, pitching prospects are a real thing. We're going to talk about The Welsh's top 5 pitching prospects in Dynasty. And it starts with Grayson Rodriguez from the Baltimore Orioles, who had an awesome season this past year. The problem is he missed a good chunk of it due to a lat strain. Regardless, it looks like he's knocking on the door here, Welsh, and chance he could be up on opening day. His early ADP is inside of the top 200 over at the NFBC. What do you think about that?
Yeah, there's a lot of expectations that it's going to go in that direction. My shock, kind of like we were talking about with the injury, I really thought he was going to be an Arizona Fall League candidate because he only put up 75 innings this year. But if you look at the whole scheme of it, he is just south of 300 career minor league innings, which is a pretty good amount for a minor league pitcher. And you want to save those innings up in the major league. I think a lot of things are working in his favor. It's a 2 to 3 plus pitcher with a great ERA, great arsenal of pitches, great command, and he gets to go up and work with his, I call him a battery mate, his catcher, Adley Rutschman. Adley knows Grayson Rodriguez. I think Grayson called Adley like the best catcher in the world when they're playing in the minor leagues together. Probably in his mind, he is. But I love the prospects of a guy like Adley being able to, bring him in and already know this guy from day one. I think it works really, really well with Grayson Rodriguez as well. I just think he's the total package. I think Baltimore, their development and what they've done with pitchers has been bar none. They made some factors in this last offseason that are going to help, just a little bit keeping the ball in track. So Grayson Rodriguez, the top guy, there's really not a lot that he does bad outside of missing a few innings. ERA has been sub 2.7 his entire minor league career. He's always struck out and had high strikeout numbers, and I think that's going to continue this coming year. So Grayson Rodriguez, I'll take that almost 13K per nine he had last year and get that to the majors, and I think you're going to get over 10.
All right, let's talk about 2 through 5 on this list. Top pitching prospects: Andrew Painter with the Phillies, Ricky Tiedemann with the Blue Jays, Eury Perez with the Marlins, and Kyle Harrison with the Giants. 2 names I'm going to put together first here: Painter and Eury Perez. They're both massive human beings. Painter is 6'7", 19 years old. Eury Perez, 6'8", 19 years old. There have been some very gentle whispers that Andrew Painter actually could be up for the Phillies as soon as this season. That's how dominant he's been at a young age. Eury Perez doesn't have the same gaudy numbers, but just from a stuff perspective, it is absolutely filthy. Talk to me about those 2, Andrew Painter, Eury Perez.
Yeah, and it's funny. I just did this mock draft with our friend Eric Cross over on the Tool Shed. It was this big industry mock draft, and this funny thing happened. I won't go into the whole detail about it, but someone got very upset and was like, "This doesn't count because Eury Perez went above Andrew Painter." They just didn't believe it. But the industry sentiment is Andrew Painter is the number 2 and number 1 in some circles, and Painter might have had the best minor league season of everybody. A 1.56 ERA, check this out. In 103 innings pitched, he had 155 strikeouts and only 25 walks. That is a 2.17 walk per 9. That's a crazy number compared to a 13.5 K per 9. His stuff is big, body's big. This is another one of those guys where it's like, don't waste your minor league innings too long in the minors if he's ready. And he's showing it. He moved 3 levels up to AA. I expect he'll start at AA, then he gets pushed to AAA. But I wouldn't even throw it past this team that they could bring him up from AA. But I just don't know if they're going to have the need. Andrew Painter, he's the guy. Eury Perez, it's big stuff, big body. I've never been like the craziest Eury Perez guy, but he was able to jump up to AA. One really positive thing, he's working with Sandy Alcantara this offseason, which it's like, if you can have that change up, just wipe off a little bit on Eury Perez, thank you very much. I think that is a perfectly great sign. He had more struggles than Andrew Painter had as he moved up levels, but he is a phenomenal talent, and he's an easy top 5 starting pitching prospect in Dynasty, who by some is valued as the number 1 guy. Those top 3 guys are kind of interchangeable in a lot of minds.
Number 3 and 5 on this list, I mentioned Ricky Tiedemann, big riser this past season, a lefty from the Toronto Blue Jays, 117 strikeouts over 78 and 2/3 innings pitched. Kyle Harrison is the other one with the Giants, also a lefty. Awesome numbers this past season. Got 186 strikeouts, 18 starts at Double-A. So, perhaps we could see him second half of the season at some point with the San Francisco Giants. I will point out, I think Harrison has probably the worst control of this group. That doesn't obviously mean he's a bad pitcher by any means. He's very good, in fact. Talk to me about these two, Tiedemann and Kyle Harrison.
Yeah, I mean, Kyle Harrison had like a almost 4 walk per 9, but he had almost 15 K per 9. I want to say he was number 2 in all minor leagues baseball behind Brandon Pfaadt with the Arizona Diamondbacks, who had over 200 strikeouts and has been a huge riser on my personal top 500 prospect list, which people can find at inthisleague.com. And Ricky Tiedemann, if you know me, is my guy. I love this guy. I think there's a possibility that maybe he's a left-handed version of a Shane McClanahan. It's big K numbers, a similar walk per 9 as Andrew Painter, like we talked about. It's in those lows. It's right around 3. It's over 13 K per 9. Really great command, pounds the zone, multiple good pitches, wipeout stuff. I think Ricky Tiedemann is still an undervalued piece that people are not quite caught up on. 117 strikeouts and only 78 innings pitched with a 2.17 ERA. My top 4 is kind of a tier, and then Kyle Harrison is the start of the next tier, but 186 strikeouts and being one of the top strikeout guys in all the minor leagues is pretty good. But like you said, a little bit of command issues, and he might be the start of like, is there a pitching prospect out there? Because I don't think he's going to go in relief, but you look at those wild numbers and sometimes it might be out there. It's pretty good top 5 class.
All right, so that's the top 5. We'll have more pitching prospects for you next week. For more extensive fantasy baseball coverage, listen to the Fantasy Baseball Today podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, your smart speakers, or anywhere else podcasts are found. And thanks for listening to Fantasy Baseball Today in 5. We'll be back again on Tuesday morning. Bye-bye.